Greetings, YouTube. Recently, I've been working in a different area of my company. They're shorthanded. They lost like 4 people on the third shift in a fairly short period of time, and they are training some people to replace them. But in the meantime, they need bodies at the presses. And the presses in question I'm working on at the moment are fully autonomous. You start them up, and they run themselves. And the parts come out on a conveyor belt, and you have to inspect the parts before they hit the end of the conveyor belt, which is there's a bucket there to catch the extras. If you do your job right, they don't end up in there. And you literally inspect them, drop them in a chute, and they go right into a box. So you're packing them for the customer directly. And you run 2 presses. So you've got 2 fully autonomous presses, and some of them can be very quick. There are a couple of them where you have 8 cavity molds, and they have a 36-second cycle. So that means every 36 seconds you're getting 16 parts thrown at you. And if you do the job correctly, you can keep up. But it's not difficult to feel overwhelmed. And I don't particularly like running these, but I got no choice because that's what they put me. So I tend to really try to concentrate on what I'm doing to make sure I don't get backed up, because it makes my life easier and it doesn't tend to trigger my anxiety. So I just do the best I can. That's the goal. Do the best you can every day. But one of the things I do is I try to be organized. Now, you're not going to believe that from looking at my office. That bench back there is covered with figures and pieces of gear that need to be reviewed, and I haven't done them yet. But I try to be organized when it comes to my job as much as possible. When I'm working on my normal job, if you look at my bench where I'm working, I don't have a bench at the moment, but if you look at my bench when I'm working normally, when I'm doing my stuff, everything is in the exact same place every single day. If I'm doing a certain part, bingo, that's my setup, and it's going to be that way every day. I try to inspect the parts exactly the same way every time, because that helps you find problems. So in an effort to make sure I have everything done, I try to keep it organized. I have extra cardboard boxes ready for myself. I have the rubbers is kept up to date. We're making sure the reels, I'll get the full reel and everything. And at the end of the day, I make sure I set everything up for the next operator. I want to make sure that when they hit that process, when they swap out with me at 7 o'clock, that they can just go and they're not going to have any major issues. And last week, it was Thursday night, which is our last shift of the week. When we get out of work at 7 o'clock on Friday morning, we're done for the weekend, unless, of course, someone is going to be working overtime on the weekend. And I didn't. As I'm working my job, and I was making a box at the beginning of the shift, because the previous shift had not left me an empty box. I'm not critiquing them. They just hadn't done it. Someone walks up to me, and she looks at me, and I'm making this box, and I'm taping it up in the bag and stuff. She goes, "I always like working after you." She says, "You leave boxes, and everything's perfect." And I thanked her for this. And it's not common that I receive compliments for what I do from my coworkers. If you get a compliment from a boss, there are times I question the validity of that compliment, because there's always potential that they're just trying to make it look like they're paying attention. But when it's a coworker, someone that's saying your peer, that's different. That means something to me. When someone helps me at work, I thank them. And if I can help them at some point in the future, I will. If I see that somebody needs a reel of rubber and I've got the time to go grab them a reel of rubber, particularly there's one woman at work at the moment who's rather significantly pregnant, I will move that for her, because they weigh like 35 pounds. And I don't expect thanks for that. I just do it. If I get it, cool. If I don't, I'm doing it because I think it should be done. So when this woman thanked me last week, it meant something to me. And it was more important than a potentially manipulative accolade from someone else above me. And I don't get compliments often. And I cherish them. And they're important for us. So if someone does something that you appreciate, tell them. Be honest. Don't do it just to make yourself curry favor. Don't be manipulative, but support each other. It could be something simple. I complimented someone today on the fact that she always wears great perfume, and I know she takes effort to wear great perfume. It seems simple, but this person takes a lot of effort on their appearance, and their clothing, and their makeup, and they make an effort, and they do this because this is how they enjoy expressing themselves and presenting themselves to the world. And I complimented them on that because someone noticed. If someone makes an effort, pay attention. And if you sincerely feel that giving them a compliment, give them a compliment. Help each other. Support each other. And your day will be a little better. Take my word for it.